Hi everyone, my name is Shelby with Natural Environment Aquatics, and today we're going to talk about my fish pick of the week, which isn't really a fish, but it is the Dwarf Mexican lobster. So the Dwarf Mexican lobster is a tiny freshwater crayfish, and they get the name because they look like little lobsters, obviously, but they are super popular because they stay small and they are much less destructive than full-size crayfish. In the wild, you can find these cute little guys in shallow lakes, slow streams, and then in leaf litter and decaying plant material, muddy or sandy bottoms, and then anywhere where there's plenty of submerged vegetation. Unlike this absolute cutie here, in the wild they're usually brown or gray. The selective breeding has caused this bright orange coloration for aquarium keeping, and honestly, it's one of my favorite things. These guys live an average of 1 to 3 years, and their adult size is about 1.5 inches to 2 inches, so it's nice and small. They fully mature in roughly 3 to 5 months, and they molt every few weeks when they're younger, but then it changes to probably like every month, month and a half once they get older. The minimum tank size for these guys is roughly 5 to 10 gallons for one, and then 10 to 20 gallons for multiple individuals. For groups, provide lots of floor space since they like to live on the bottom and they don't really use any of the upper area. So these little cuties like to have typical tropical fish keeping ranges, so anywhere from like 70 to 78 degrees Fahrenheit with a pH of right around 7 to 7.5, and then the water hardness is moderate to hard. They are from Mexico, so our typical Florida water that we have here would be fine for them. They like low to moderate flow, so you're not absolutely slinging them around. For the bottom of their stuff, you typically want to do a sand or a more fine gravel, so this nice little pea gravel here is just fine. You want to have lots of rock caves, driftwood, any sort of ceramic shrimp cave or leaf litter to make them feel more comfortable. And they're considered generally plant safe and rarely uproot plants. Some really good ones would definitely be like Java moss, Anubias, Crypts, Bucephalandras, and then any sort of stem plant. They'll occasionally nibble at soft leaves but rarely destroy full plants. For their behavior and temperament, they are considered to be semi-peaceful, but they can be very territorial towards other crayfish. So it's really, really good to have all of that hiding and decor that I kind of talked about to make everybody feel safe. They are also opportunistic predators, so they have the potential to prey on weaker crayfish or ones that are in the middle of a molt. When it comes to the fishy companions for these guys, I definitely say that you can do it, but use caution. So avoid fish that are potentially sleepers that like to sleep towards the bottom, any sort of bottom dwelling, and then any fish that is injured or old. Some good tank mates for these guys would be fast midwater fishes like tetras, rasboras, larger guppies, and then some possibly small danios. But some really risky ones would be the bottom dwellers that I talked about, so corydoras, coolie loaches, and small gobies. When it comes to other invertebrates in the tank, it's roughly 50-50 on whether or not it's going to work. Keeping things like cardenias and neocardinia shrimp is definitely super risky. Amano shrimp are sometimes okay, and then with snails, it's usually safe, but they may grab and eat up smaller ones. Look at this little guy climbing. Isn't that adorable? With keeping these guys, you definitely want to have a recommended ratio of 1 male to every 2 to 3 females to prevent overbreeding and excessive aggression. And then once again, remember the lots of caves to be able to break the line of sight and avoid overcrowding. For their diet, like I said, they are opportunistic omnivores and scavengers. So any sort of sinking shrimp or crayfish pellet is good. Algae wafers are good. Fish pellets, and then any sort of biofilm will also be super beneficial to them. For the proteins, they definitely like things like bloodworms, brine shrimp, daphnia, and frozen foods, and then vegetables can also be parboiled for them, such as zucchini, spinach, peas, and cucumbers. I will say though, these guys are absolutely excellent climbers, as you kind of saw earlier, and then that can cause a potential issue for them because they can climb out of your tank. Definitely recommend keeping a lid with them. But overall, I think they are an absolutely fantastic little creature, and as someone who enjoys invertebrates, highly recommend them. All right, thank you.